Hello everyone, welcome. I hope you're all doing well. I'm happy that you're joining us for another lesson in our ongoing French course. In this lesson, we have a very important verb. This is a verb that is used quite often and also a powerhouse verb in the sense that it's very versatile. There's a lot that you can do with it. So I'm going to show you what you can do towards the end of the video. So the first thing is a little bit about the origin of the verb préférer. It's related obviously to English prefer, and this comes from Latin préférer, to carry in front, literally. So pré is before or in front, and faire, to carry. So from this verb, we have French préférer, Spanish preferir, Italian preferire, and of course English to prefer. Now the literal meaning to carry in front, it's a little different than the idea of prefer. Now I'm not sure how to carry in front came to mean to prefer, but if you think about it, perhaps people carried their most valued possessions in front of them, with them. So that which you value most, you carry in front of you, or literally you prefer, from the Latin. If you know more about the evolution of this word, feel free to post it in the comments. So back to the verb préférer. Préférer is a regular ER verb in the present tense, so it is going to use the regular ER verb endings. However, it is a spelling change verb, so we're going to see that magic happen here in just a second. So how does it change? Remember, for the spelling change verbs that we've seen already, the spelling change occurs in the je, tu, il, elle, on, and the plural il, elle forms. The nous form and the vous form stay the same. There is no spelling change. So let's see what happens with préférer. Remember, always remove your ER from the infinitive and you're left with your root. So here's our root. Notice the two accent aigu in the root. So if I add my E ending for je, notice the spelling change that occurs. The accent aigu changes to the accent grave. So we have je préfère, I prefer. Tu, we start with our root. We add the ES ending for tu, and notice the spelling change. There it is. There's the magic right there, the little spelling change that occurs when you add the ending. So notice accent aigu changes to accent grave. Accent aigu, accent grave. Tu préfères. You prefer. Tu préfères. Il, elle, on. The same thing's going to happen. We add our ending, which is the same as the je ending, just the E. So, il, elle, on préfère. Again, notice the little magic that happens there when you add your ending, the spelling change that occurs. Nous, we prefer. We start with our root and then add the ending. There is no spelling change here. Nous préférons. Nous préférons, we prefer. Vous, we start with our root. No spelling change occurs in the nous and the vous form. Vous préférez. Vous préférez. You prefer. Il, elle, the plural. We start with our root and, of course, the ENT ending for il and elle. And we have the spelling change occur. So, il préfère. Elle préfère. There it is. Okay, so there you have your forms of the verb préférer in the present tense. So now the exciting part. Once you know the conjugation, you have the ability to say many things in French. Your ability to express yourself has grown by leaps and bounds simply by memorizing, by learning one simple verb conjugation in the present. So what can you do with the verb préférer? Well, you can say that you prefer something. Usually you have a choice between two things, you know, X and Y. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer X or do you prefer Y? Well, the thing that you prefer would just simply be a noun. The préférer you would conjugate. So if I wanted to say I prefer something, well, the phrase would be préférer quelque chose meaning something. So it would be préférer plus your noun. So I have to conjugate the verb préférer, I prefer. And of course, you know that's je préfère. Notice with the accent aigu here and the accent grave here. Je préfère. And maybe you had a choice between a salad and some fruit. And you might say, well, I prefer the salad. Je préfère la salade. Je préfère la salade. So that's one thing you can do with it. And just think about it. If you know 100 different nouns, well, then you can already say 100 different things that you prefer. So just replace la salade with whichever other noun that you know, and you can say many, many things. So the more nouns you learn, the more things you can say here. Okay, so the next thing, the important thing that you can do with préférer, you can prefer to do something. So we have préférer plus an infinitive. Remember, the infinitive is the unconjugated verb. So let's say I have a choice of working and resting. Well, at the moment, you're feeling energetic. You want to get things done. So you might say, well, right now, I prefer to work. Well, how do you say that in French? It's very simple. Je préfère travailler. So conjugated form of the verb, je préfère, and then your infinitive, travailler. Je préfère travailler. And again, think about it. The more infinitives you know, the more you can say. You might just try as a mental exercise off of the top of your head. Just think about different infinitives you know and practice saying, I prefer to do this, I prefer to do that. Just go down the list of infinitives. Do it in your mind without looking at a book or paper or online anywhere. Just see how many different things you can say with what you already know and just keep practicing. The more you practice, the better. Okay, so I'm going to end the lesson here. However, in our next lesson, we are going to look at a lot of different examples with préférer. So be sure to join us for that lesson. As we finish up here, just a reminder, these are the most common verbs that fall into this category of spelling change verbs, this particular category where the accent aigu changes to the accent grave in all of the forms except for the nous and the vous. So we've had espérer, to hope. We just had préférer. Other verbs that are like this are répéter, exagérer, and protéger. Okay, well, that's it for this lesson. Thanks so much for watching. If you found it helpful, I would appreciate it very much if you'd give it a like. To continue learning, go on to the next video. Subscribers, thank you for your support, and I'll see you soon. À bientôt.